And welcome to the What the Shuck podcast. The goal of the What the Shuck podcast is to provide a platform to positive and influential people of Kentucky and Appalachia. These guests on my show are going to be a variety of different ways and skills that they're providing to the region. My next guest is definitely an innovator on how to find a way to bring commerce to the region through a series of shows that he's done from where we're at right now at Spruce Creek to also doing Laurel Cove, and he's also the commissioner or the head of tourism for Bell County Tourism. But without further ado, Mr. Jon Grace, man, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming, and pretty cool to do a podcast in here. I always wanted to do something in here, so we're breaking virgin ground right here, so appreciate it.
So this place is really cool. It's right down by a creek. I'll be shooting a little bit of footage to show that and just kind of what the show looks like. And I think you said you have 2 of these a year, I guess.
Yeah, 2.
So there's a spring one and then a fall version. And so you'll get to hear you'll get to see some of this spring show in anticipation for the show in the fall. But yeah, this place is really cool, man. I love all the posters you have. And so just kind of walk us through a little bit about like what you do and your position.
So like you said, my position, I've been the head of tourism in Bell County, which is right on the Cumberland Gap area in Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia state line. Had that position since 2016. For 10 years before that, I worked actually for the Bell County Fiscal Court in adventure tourism, which was basically doing overseeing an ATV park that we had and doing some other stuff too, writing grants for the state park to improve hiking trails and, trying to find ways, because we were really cash strapped like a lot of things, but trying to find ways to do things without having a lot of money or, resources. So, loosely I've been doing tourism. I'm 40, but I've been doing tourism since I graduated college in 2005. So like 18 years. So
before this, you were telling me that you were a computer science guy. You can't write code, but you found your calling. Obviously, you're doing some stuff that's making some really big impacts in just bringing people to the area. So you were talking about how you did your adventure tourism. Obviously, that's a pretty big way to capitalize off of what we have in this region. It's beautiful. Tons of places to go riding and stuff like that. So whether it's bikes or ATVs or Jeeps, whatever, I think that's really cool that people are doing that. But we obviously know, like, that's a great thing. We have all this outdoor stuff, but I would say our bread and butter is music. I don't know. I would guess you'd probably agree with that. Yeah,
and it's funny because I was talking to my buddy Tim Parks, who's the Manchester tourism guy, but he's done music before that. But I was just telling him, 5-6 years ago, there was none of this. I mean, and even in the Kentucky music community, pre Chris Stapleton and Tyler Childers and Sturgill, you basically had guys like the guy who's playing here tonight, Nick Jamerson, and that was it. And there wasn't a lot of shows, not a lot of things going on. And I always go back to this, but I think one of the game changers for me personally, and it's kind of ironic that I've got the shirt on, but going to an event like Kicking It on the Creek up in Irvin, it just showed me how much love there was in this particular community. And when you have a love like that, you can develop a lot around it. So we had done shows. I've been booking shows for years and years and years, but it wasn't until our music community fully blossomed into what it is today that we were able to use that as like an economic driver. Before you could do a show and you might have 5, 10, 20 people show up, but it's been kind of really energizing and invigorating to see how it's gone the past 5 years and what it's going in today, to where you had to drive an hour, 2 hours to see a show, and now there's 24 within every weekend, it seems like, within here. So it's grown into something really cool, and not only us, but a lot of communities are using live music as a means to kind of help our small businesses and hotels and restaurants and stuff.
So that's something I definitely really like. So what you're doing that I noticed was that I'm looking at this Laurel Cove poster, and when I saw a post that you had from last year when you did this, but you have all these other things that people can come and do. It's like they can go fly fishing, or they can go to the Overlook, or but then you're like, you can go to what's the falls here?
Cumberland Falls, yeah.
Not Cumberland, but the
Eagle Falls, Dog Slaughter Falls.
Dog Slaughter Falls.
Yeah,
I keep seeing people post about that all the time. I'm like, I want to go check that place out. But you can tell that you obviously want to say, hey, we have this awesome music product, but look at all these other ways that you can go be immersive in this community. Rather it's through a restaurant that you were like, go eat at the Wrigley, or go hike at Dog Slaughter Falls. And it's just like, obviously this place really means a lot to you. So tell us a little bit why this place means so much to you.
Well, yeah, so like where we're at right now, we're actually in Whitley County, which is one county over from where my job is in Bell County. But the tourism director here, Maggie, is amazing. And, you know, what I'm doing here at the house is a very, very small thing compared to what we do in Bell County. But, you know, doing these shows, I think, are my personal favorite of the year. We only do 2. They're small, 50, 60, maybe 70 people. But I want to bring that same element of things, that same atmosphere of whether it's a show at the Cove or at the Bell Theater, and bringing that same thing to here. But these shows, like I said, by far are my favorite. They're special to me because they're at my home. Yeah. And I typically know everybody here, and even if it's the first time, it's a great first place to kind of kick off a friendship at. So these shows are really special to me. And like I said, doing them here at my house and getting to show off Whitley County and helping my friend Maggie out, even if it's on a smaller scale, is important to me too. Yeah,
and so this is technically the first time we've met. We've been kind of talking back and forth online. We had a 1 hour phone call one day, and just I could tell immediately that we would kind of have a connection. I mean, I already look up to you. No, we just like met, but I draw inspiration from what you do and the things that you're bringing to the region. So as you're kind of like doing your own thing and then you're doing bigger stuff, tell us a little bit about some of the big stuff that you have coming up, you know, as far as like Laurel Cove.
Yeah, so like, you know, Laurel Cove Music Festival, kind of the brainchild behind that was kind of started at kicking. I keep going back to that event, but Kicking on the Creek, a couple of me and my buddies were talking at that event, and we're like, you know, it'd be really cool if we could do something back home that, you know, we didn't want to take that idea and, you know, kind of copy it, but we were like, it gave us inspiration to do something on our own. So the Cove is neat because it's used for weddings and like the Mountain Laurel Festival, but it hasn't been a music venue in like 20, 25 years. There's not been a show there. I remember I saw like Confederate Railroad when I was like 10 years old there, and that's the only show I ever remember seeing there. So we were talking, and the manager of the park is on my board of directors, so we got to talking, and we're like, you know, this could be a really special place for a concert. You know, if we could see if we could work something out and do something here. And first year, oddly enough, we had bad luck and had to move it inside. And last year was just the first year we've actually got to have it outside. But we've done some single shows too. And so that event is obviously really special to me. And then we've got things like the Cumberland Mountain Fall Festival, which is more of a hybrid thing with crafts and carnival. And that's in Middlesboro, which is 10 miles south of Pineville. But that's one that I've had a bigger role in the past 5 or 6 years too, that I really enjoy. Middlesboro is my hometown, so that's the big event. So getting to have a role in that's super important. And then we do events throughout the year. I mean, we've got 15 or 20 events. I'm a big believer in using events to advertise your area rather than putting, you know, a $15,000 magazine ad which somebody might look at. And, you know, I believe investing in an event to make people, because word of mouth is your most powerful. Absolutely. And social media, obviously, but those are your 2 biggest drivers to getting people there. So we were like, let's use these events. Let's make sure we don't have a crappy event. And let's use these events as marketing tools and mechanisms of bringing people down to showcasing our area and showcasing things like you said, like the hiking and off-roading and everything, fly fishing, kayak, all that stuff.
So with those shows, obviously, you've had some really cool people that you've had on to headline or maybe even people that you had that were people at the bottom of your poster that ends up being headliners. So tell us a little bit about some of the people you really enjoyed getting to know, and then some of the people that, like, you know, kind of blew up before your eyes, I guess.
Yeah. You know, that's the cool thing about this Kentucky and Appalachian music communities. Like I said, back in the day, you know, 10 years ago, there was Nick, in my opinion, and maybe like somebody like Chris Knight that I listened to. But now, and maybe it's just because I wasn't as involved in it back then, but looking at it from afar, that's what it was. And now, literally everybody, you know, you've got, you know, like I said, you know, the Tylers and the Sturgills and the Chris Stapletons, but you've also got people like Ian Noe, who's coming up. You got people like Cole Chaney and Logan Halstead out of West Virginia. Somebody like Charles Godwin, who played this cabin 2 years ago in front of 70 people and now's getting to headline Laurel Cove. Somebody like Morgan Wade, who's down opening for Brooks and Dunn. We've had her several times, and now she's blowed up like crazy. It's awesome getting to watch these talented people realize their dreams, and getting to work with somebody like who we've got playing tonight, like Nolan Taylor. Just incredible voice. And Nick, in my opinion, is the OG of Kentucky. He's the true OG of this Kentucky music scene. I mean, I don't think that it would be anywhere of what it is today without him and Sunday Best and kind of the groundwork that they laid. So getting to interact with and be friends with people like this and getting to see them grow as artists and as people is really special.
So seeing all this talent, being around them all, is there anybody that you have really, really, really connected to and just become like really good friends with, or just like, you know, obviously you probably know them a lot better, but like, is there anybody that you just were like, whoa, that dude's my pal now? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, there's quite a few. Bolander is one. Bo's my guy. David Prince and Teresa are two of my favorite people. We went to the Snoop Dogg concert together the other weekend. Cole Chaney, Arlo, John R. Miller is one of my favorite human beings on the face of the earth. Nick is one of my favorite human beings on the face of the earth. A lot of them, man. I mean, there's too many to mention, to be honest. But like, you know, Bolander, I always mention him first because he'll come down here and just like, he'll be like, I'm coming down to your cabin to do a writing session. I'm like, all right, man, come on down. And we end up grilling out and just hanging out. But that's my dude. He's I consider him a really good friend, and like I said, all the ones I mentioned and many more too. But we're lucky to have a lot of stand-up people in this community. So
for sure. So with the things that you've done so far, what are some like sights on the horizon that you see, and some kind of things that you're going to be going after towards the future with the groundwork that you've kind of laid with Laurel Cove and with doing shows at Bell County Theater and doing stuff like this?
Well, I mean, there's a few things. You know, we've tried to kind of think. Our thing is, it's interesting. Like, we have our situation is we don't have as big of a budget as some of the tourism agencies do. Mm-hmm. But that's, you know, while that's an issue, you know, we can't get the Tylers of the world or, you know, some of the big artists, but we can get, you know, that's never going to be our thing anyway. Our thing is getting the best of the underground, the best of the new up and coming. People like Logan Halstead, who I forgot to mention is my boy. I love you. I didn't mean to leave you out. That's my kid right there. I love that kid, man. He's the best. But getting people like him who are up and coming, you know, young and on the verge of doing something, and you know, that's our thing. So there's challenges like, you know, we face issues like with legislation trying to get a restaurant tax. Middlesboro, and I don't want to get into this to bore you, it always seems to come to this issue, but you know, we're one of like 18 counties or 18 cities in Kentucky. Middlesboro is it isn't allowed to have a restaurant tax, which makes my budget like a 10th or 20th of what my neighbors are. Mm-hmm. So we have to figure out ways to do more with less. I always say you work 10 times. It's great that I love my job because I have to work 10 times harder to get, you know, a fifth of the results that everybody else gets, because all the other things that people pay to outsource to do, like websites or making commercials or making posters, and which I do outsource that, but most of that stuff I do in-house because our budget is kind of low. So, you know, that will be one thing that I would like to do in the future is try to correct that and have a budget to where, you know, we can do bigger shows if we wanted to. But I'm comfortable where we're at right now. Like I said, the community that we have that comes to our events are amazingly supportive. They always spend money in the hotels or restaurants, which is, I mean, we never look to make any money on shows.
But you help the community make money.
Exactly. That's what I care. And that's why, you know, my board is so great because they understand that.
Yeah.
Like if you lose $1,000 on the show, even it's fine because
you're going to keep on being able to make those losses because people are going to keep being able to support you because they're like, you might have lost $1,000, but you made our community a lot of money. So
yeah, and we don't lose money on every show.
Yeah.
But typically, you know, if there's a show and you're like, oh man, it's sold out, but you know, like at Laurel Cove where we don't make the money off the beer that goes to the park. You know, if there's a situation like that, you're like, it's fine, man, because you know we had 800 people come or 900 people or 1,000 people come down, get hotel rooms, spend money in restaurants, you know. Spend money in all kinds of different things, and that's what it's all about right there, is growing those small businesses. I love Bell Theaters is a great example because when there's a show at the Bell Theater, you can go down there and like 2 hours before in Courthouse Square, you'll see all the restaurants packed. I was like, that's it. That's what we're going after right there, is for those businesses that surround the Bell Theater. And we've actually used the Bell Theater as kind of like the focal point of revitalization in downtown Powellville. So it's been great. I mean, we've been blessed so far. And like I said, it's only good because people come to support us and people like you give us a voice and the artists that come and play, man. So.
I think that's a huge part of the community that we're in, though, is that everybody kind of realizes that if we coexist and help each other out, that it just makes everybody blow up. It makes everybody be and have more potential. And you're talking about like working with Logan and working with these younger artists. And it's like when you have someone that has all this potential and they have tons of support on top of having this potential, and then they have a support system that's willing to like help them get better. That just helps so much when you're young because, you know, there's so many artists that struggle for years and years and years because it's just like them and their mom and dad are like the support system as opposed to like having a guy that's running a music festival or, you know, he's got a buddy like Cole that's doing well too. And it's just like when you have like, and then Cole's support system, it's just like, you know, when you're adding all these, you know, you're adding Jon Grace and you had the Cole Chaney's family and you had his support team. And then it's like when you have all that, it just grows, it grows a better and bigger community. Yeah. That's why Nick is so great, is because he's all about that. He's all about building that community because he knows.
He's seen it before there was any. Yeah. I mean, that's why I've got the utmost respect for that man, because literally, I mean, now don't get me wrong, back in the day, if you ever went to a Sunday Best show at Redmond's, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, there was a crowd in there, but it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't like they were in there, you know, mainly college kids drinking beer there to raise hell. This is a whole different thing. This is people like with Cole and Logan and all these artists now, the new generation. They have a support base in this Kentucky music scene. You know, people that are out there right now, like Brian Atkins and Steve and I mean, just all of these people that Uncle Ted that come to every single show, and whether they saw that artist last weekend, if they're playing again, they'll go again. Yeah, and that's what it's all about, man. You need that, especially like you said, early in your career. Super important.
Yep. So who are some artists that you see other than Logan? Obviously, Cole is kind of blown up at this point. You probably could have said that last year. Yeah. But who are some artists that you see on the horizon that you're just like, this kid's got a lot of potential?
Drayton Farley. Okay. Drayton Farley. That's my dude too. That's another one that I consider a good friend. It's weird because like these cats are a lot younger than I am. But Drayton is just unbelievable. He's out of Alabama. Immensely talented. I try to get him for everything that we do.
He's really good for sure.
Yeah, he's great. Like I said, Logan Halstead is just out of this world. You know, Cole Chaney, who's selling at the Burl now, doing all kinds of incredible things. Sydney Adams, right here in Corbin, Kentucky, is fantastic. Nolan Taylor is who's we got playing tonight. Younger guy. I mean, the future's in good hands.
Where's Nolan from?
No one's from Cincinnati. You know?
I heard him say he needs to get out of the city.
Yeah, we're trying to convince him to move down here to the country. But no one's my dude, man. That's another one that I consider a dear friend. And man, his voice, like you hear it, like the first 5 seconds, you're just like, wow, this guy is just immensely talented. But like I said, it's great because I was, you wonder, like, once the Tylers and in that next phase, and you're like, well, who's going to pick it up next? And man, it's like they didn't even miss a beat. Like you look at somebody like Colt Saney, you see him like he's 21 years old. Logan is 19 years old, and they're out there doing stuff that, I mean, is incredible for their age. So future's in good hands. But yeah, those cats, like I said, I think that we've got a lot of talent. Not only here, Vincent Neil Emerson out of Texas, we've got coming to Laurel Cove. Another cat that's kind of younger, and
you got some crazy Canucks flying down here from the Hippies and Cowboys.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're doing something right.
I don't know who let them in.
Yeah, for real. They're going to be down here for like I think 2 weeks because that's right before Black Mountain Jamboree, or right after Black Mountain Jamboree. Or no, right. Yeah, Laurel Cove's right after.
Told Gary, I said, man, just move down. He's like, I think he's like, he's talking about moving. I said, man, just move on down here. Like, you got so much stuff you can do down here as far as it pertains to your work. So
I don't know if he was joking, but they put him on. I don't know if you saw the poster for the show they're doing at Bluegrass Barrel House.
Yeah, I think we got one going to be the night before Laurel Cove and Pineville too at the Butcher's Pub.
Yeah, they were.
I don't know if I'm supposed to announce that yet, but now we know.
Well, I've talked to Garrett about it. Me and you knew that. I don't know if this will be out. Honestly, that'll probably get announced before then, but because this will probably come out in like a month from now. Gotcha. So it'll probably be right before
World Cup. But yeah, it will be definitely good.
And
I don't care either way. I'll spill the beans. I don't care.
Yeah. But they put Garrett on that poster, and he's in a Jeff Gordon outfit, and Cotton, who I think's coming down here too. He was like, I bet he doesn't even know who Jeff Gordon is. And Garrett was like, I don't. And I was like, I don't know if he's being for real or not. Like, because he's from Canada, maybe people from Canada maybe don't know who Jeff Gordon is. I was like, I knew who Jeff Gordon is.
Oh, man. You better not run into Cole. Cole will fight him over that.
Is that like Cole's boy?
Cole is a Dale Earnhardt guy.
Okay, so, I know that, but why would he get mad about Jeff Gordon?
No, I don't know. He's like me. He just likes giving Mike and Garrett crap. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's my dudes, man. Those guys have helped us a lot, too. They really have. They do a lot of good stuff for us. So
they have an incredible platform of what they're doing. It's so crazy because, you have Mike in Iowa, and then you have Garrett up in Canada, and then you have also Meme Man. You got Stay Here Meme, but he's out of Owensboro.
Yeah,
John Owens.
Yeah, John Owens. He's great.
Yeah,
and then we've got a couple more. Like we've got a guy named Grady who's got a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I think it's Grady Smith. He's come to Laurel Cove this year, so we've got quite a bit of media coming there, and it's awesome, man. Like I said, it's we're not the biggest, we're not the flashiest. We don't have the $10 beers and all that, but it's nice that
you have water.
We've got water. It's cheap. You won't have to wait 3 hours for it. But no, I'm excited, and I appreciate, like I said, because again, we don't have a huge budget, so it's imperative that people like you are nice enough to give us shine a light on us and help showcase what we're doing.
Well, man, we're cutting close to showtime. Give us some dates on when you got stuff coming up as far as for Bell County or Bell Theater, and then also Laurel Cove. Yeah,
so Laurel Cove will be June 10th and 11th at Pine Mountain State Resort Park in Pineville, Kentucky. Tickets are still available. We've sold about 2/3 of them so far, so getting a little low. I would recommend getting them soon. But typically, we will even have some at the gate. Our fall festival is September 30th and October 1st. We've also got a lot of other stuff going on. There's the Levitt series in Middlesboro, which is a free concert series every Thursday night. We do shows at the Bell Theater sporadically in the summer, and then really kicking into high gear in the fall and the winter. We've got Lost Dog Street Band doing a single show on August 27th at Laurel Cove. And that's about it. Like I said, we got things like Matt Heckler. I think Logan Halstead's going to do a show in Middlesboro in July. So if you just stay tuned to Bell County Tourism on Facebook, we can catch all that stuff on there. So.
Cool, man. Well, I always finish with the last question, kind of asking what the overall impact is that you're trying to make. So, what's the overall impact that you would like to leave with what you're doing and with the things you do for Kentucky?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I mean, just building something that will last. I mean, having a foundation built on love. I mean, this community is so family oriented. That's why, we had a lady come from Alaska to Laurel Cove, and she came by herself. And she's like, I came down there, and I instantly knew that I made the right decision, because it's just, it's family, man. That's the one thing Kentucky does really well, man. We're really hospitable. No matter where you're from, we'll take you in and make you feel like we've known you for 20 years. And when you have a foundation built on that, you can do this a long time, and we hope to. I mean, like you said, I don't think Cole taught us one important thing, is that you don't need to have an economy that's singular in its base. You need to have something that's multifaceted and built on different things. So tourism is one component, and this is an important part of the tourism. So I'm excited about it, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Man, I appreciate you so much.
Yes, sir.
If you're listening to What the Shuck podcast, I appreciate you all. This should be out in about a month, just in time for Laurel Cove. But if you are listening, make sure you go check out all the stuff going on in Bell County, and also come check out one of the Spruce Creek sessions. Hope you all have a great day and live the dream.